Mariners lose 6-5 in 10 innings. They lose the series 3-1. If you're paying any attention, you know that puts the Mariners record at 1-3. Let's quickly talk about how the heck this happened because we've got some stuff to say. Mariners get off to a great start. Julio Rodriguez, first home run of many, gives them a 1-0 lead in the first inning on the very first pitch. Lasts for all of an inning because Mike Zunino takes Marco Gonzalez deep with a couple of runners on to make it 3-1. Second inning, in that second inning is when that Zunino homer happened. In the third inning, the Mariners score thrice. Eugenio Suarez with a single up the middle to score a run. Big Dumper, a.k.a. Cal Raleigh, doubles home a couple of runs to give him a 4-3 lead. Then Kwan grounds into a double play in the fifth after another Zunino double. And that makes it 4-4. Mariners score in the fifth to take a 5-4 lead. They call it an error. I don't think that was an error. I think that was a hit. Official scorekeepers suck. So does this baseball team right now, but we'll get into that in a second. Seventh inning, Stephen Kwan singles past Colton Wong with the infield drawn in. We'll definitely talk about that in a second to make it 5-5. 10th inning, bases loaded, 1 out. Ground ball up the middle to the pitcher. Pitcher throws home to Cal Raleigh. Raleigh throws to first, chunks it. Ty France can't make the play. Runner from second ends up scoring on the play to make it 6-5. Mariners aren't able to get the job done in the bottom of the 10th, and they lose. Okay, so again, I'm trying not to get too reactionary, but I'm just going to call it. This is the thing about doing these daily recaps is it's going to be a reaction to what's happening right now. And I'm not going to say anything stupid like they're done, or I'm not going to say anything like the season is over if they don't make a trade for this or that or anything like that. But I'm just going to tell you right now, this team stunk this weekend. It stunk. Thank goodness for Luis Castillo. And thank goodness for James Karinchak having no idea where the ball was going in that 8th inning on Thursday. Because otherwise, we're talking about the Mariners getting swept. We are. And that would have been absolute disaster isn't the right term, but it would have been such a disappointing way to start the season. But this is pretty darn disappointing too. I mean, man, just did not play well in any of these games since Thursday. And even Thursday, it was really just about Castillo shoving and one reliever having a bad inning. That's it. It's the only positives you can take from this series, other than the fact that Julio Rodriguez is really good. And it's nice to see Cal Raleigh hitting again. Horrible throw. Horrible throw, though, on that double play. But I want to talk about this defense, man, because it was really, really bad, especially today. And it was pretty bad on Friday as well. And it wasn't great on Saturday, but it was really bad on Friday and Sunday. JP Crawford, I'm glad he's okay. Very glad he's okay. That's a play at shortstop I want him to make. That little looper over the second baseman's head, which ends up scoring a run with Matt Brash pitching. I want my shortstop to be able to range out and make that play. Maybe I'm asking too much, but I don't think I'm asking too much when you have a lethargic hitter. Because if you're going to post a 650 OPS, you better be a dang good defensive player. You can't be both. You cannot be both. I don't care about your 350 on base percentage hitting at the bottom of the lineup when you can't drive the baseball. It doesn't do me any good. And Colton Wong, and again, I hope he's okay too. For those who are unfamiliar, he ends up leaving this game for Sam Haggerty, pinch hits for him. I very much want my second baseman making the play on that ball that was hit with the infield drawn in. It's not an easy play, but if you're not an elite hitter, if you're not even a plus hitter, you better be really good at defense at second base. And he has not looked good at defense, and he hasn't looked good with the bat either. Sloppy, just sloppy baseball. And that's so disappointing to see because, again, I hate driving the nail, whatever the hell the words are. And a hot start is so important this year. I want this team to win the division. You want this team to win the division. So hard already because of how good Houston is. But there's an opportunity here, especially with Houston having some guys who aren't healthy, not at their best. Take advantage of it. And they did the exact opposite this weekend. So lucky they're not 0-4. Bad. Jared Kelnick once again looked pretty darn lost at the plate. Did draw the walk, but didn't look great. Everybody asking where AJ Pollock was. Well, hell of a debut for AJ Pollock. Not even close to a hit in those at bats. Nice to see Teoscar drive the baseball, crush that double. Very little concern about Teoscar Hernandez going forward, by the way. Very little. A bad few games. If we weren't talking about, and this is true for this series too, like if this was just like the middle of June or late August and they lose 3 out of 4 to the probable AL Central winners, probably not talking a whole heck of a lot about it. But it's the first weekend and we have the sample size of just this. And just this was not a very good baseball team. Didn't look like it to me anyway. I thought Marco Gonzalez was okay. Really just made the one mistake, but it's a pretty big flipping mistake. 3-run homer to the only thing you can't do is leave the ball in the middle of the plate to Mike Zunino. Anything else, you're probably going to be just fine. But it was a horrible pitch, and Zunino took advantage of it. Man. I know Brash gave up the run. Certainly not his fault. Not as nearly as dominant as he was, of course, on Thursday night. But that hit, which, should have been caught by somebody. And then the run coming on a play that if you're playing up the middle defense, man, if you're an up the middle defender, that's a play you should make. It's not routine, but you should make it. It's a big play, and he came up short. Munoz was great. Sewald was just fine. Murphy, the walk. You can't walk the hitter in that situation. You can't. You get that big strikeout of Ahmad Rosario, who looked like he had never seen a sweeper in his entire life. But then that walk just, and that's what happens, by the way, when you add base runners. When you create self-inflicted damage, and yes, they intentionally walk Jose Ramirez. I had no problem with that decision to put runners on first and second. But then you walk Josh Bell and you create a situation where a lot of things can happen to score a run. Once you're on third base, you are one thing away from scoring a run. Obvious point is obvious, but it doesn't make it any less true. Brutal. Just a brutal game, especially defensively. Really worried about the middle infield. Was worried about it before, and nothing I saw over these 4 games suggested to me that I shouldn't be worried about it. Prove me wrong, guys. Please do it. Please do it. Because didn't do it today. Certainly didn't do it today. Nice to see Suarez, even though struck out on a pitch that was not even close. It was a pretty poor effort on the very last pitch, anyway, of that at bat. Make some hard contact. Sure, the homers are coming. Rally, big double, crush that ball to center. Didn't come up super clutch late, if we're being completely honest with you. Had a chance to drive in a run from third to tie the game, didn't do it, and made a bad throw. But Ty France should have made that play too. That is again, it's not an easy play for your routine human being, but I want my major league players to make that play. And they didn't. And they didn't all throughout the weekend. Jared Kelnick, diving attempt for a ball that he misread. The reason that he had to dive for that baseball is because he misread the baseball. Some tough shadows today. Didn't make the play. They can't make mistakes like this, especially against a playoff team. And I think, again, smallish sample, they look like a playoff team to me. They certainly looked more like a playoff team than the Mariners did this weekend. Awful lot of baseball left, but this weekend was awful. They played poorly. Poorly is an understatement. They played very bad. They played like a 70-win baseball team. Not great. And disappointing. Disappointing because of the expectations and how fun last year ended. And just to come out flat. That's a great locker room. They're not nearly as upset as we are. That's one of the reasons I think why the 29-39 start last year that everybody panicked about, and by everybody I mean me, didn't phase them because they're a great group of dudes who believe in each other. But I can only judge what I've seen for these four games, right? And through these four games, they were a bad baseball team. Not fun. Not fun at all. But the great thing about baseball is they play tomorrow. And they've got a chance to win a series against their division rival. And yeah. I'm disappointed. I am very disappointed in what I saw this weekend. And you can tell me all you want that it's going to be just fine, and I'll probably agree with you. But it doesn't take away from the fact that this weekend sucked. It's a bad weekend of baseball, folks, for the team that I want to win, for the team that I am desperately hoping wins the title for my grandma. They were bad today, and they were bad most of the weekend. Tomorrow, I believe the pitching matchup is George Kirby against Reed Detmers. Kind of a fun one, especially Detmers showing more velocity. Be curious to see how they respond. I'm guessing Pollock will be in the lineup. Be very curious to see where he is in the lineup. And I will imagine maybe we'll see Sam Haggerty playing second base. I don't know. If you're hitting Wong against a lefty, he better be batting ninth. And that's saying something because they have a guy who belongs to be hitting ninth. I love you, JP Crawford, but you gotta play better. Gotta play better. And I'm glad you're okay. That he got spiked on that play that I think he should have made, or somebody should have made. And he looked to be in good pain. Good pain. He looked to be in a good deal of pain. And fortunately, he got right back up. But man, I just keep shaking my head. I'm very disappointed with this weekend. I was really excited. But great thing about baseball is that you can go 1-3 and go 4-0, and it's almost like 1-3 didn't happen. Got to win this series now. Not gotta, but it would behoove them to not lose 2 series in a row to start the year at home. All right. How disappointed are you? You just being patient? You smarter than me? Yeah. Yep, you're probably smarter than me, but man, I can just tell you what I saw this weekend wasn't good enough. Did you think it was good enough? Of course you don't. But on like a scale of 1 to 10, how I'm not going to ask you how disappointed you. I'm not going to ask you how worried you are. I'm going to ask you how disappointed you are. Scale of 1 to 10, how disappointed are you? I'm at like a 7.5, 8.